Hello. Oh, my precious girl. My precious little dragon. Yes, you are. My precious little dragon. Oh. Hi. Hi. Aww. Tail wag. Tail wag. Wah. Wah. Hello, my precious little dragons. Welcome back to my channel. Oh, Aria says hi. Hello. Okay, so I am filming this on January 16th. Anyway, so I've been thinking I wanted to try and use more of my, so what I want to do is I want to like try and go through, I want to try and use like one palette each day. So I do have like palettes of single shadows, so I think I'm going to like fudge it a little bit. So like if there's like a palette with single shadows and I want to use like another thing to like make it an actual look, like I can do that. But I want to go through like one palette a day basically, and so it's just gonna be like a short little clip. I'll show which palette I'm using and then I'll show the final look, and I want to like just kind of catalog it, like catalog me using this every day, because I think it'll be fun. So let's get started. All right, so I have this shelf up here, this shelf here. The majority of my palettes are right here. It's vaguely split into colors and neutrals, vaguely, and then these are all my mini palettes. So I think I'm going to start up here and work my way down. If I'm using a palette for a book look, I'll just mark it off so I know not to use it again. Yeah, so I am going to start with my Nikkie Tutorials palette. All right, this is the final look. So I used the shades Amsterdam and Slasher in my crease, or around my eye. And then on my lid, I used a combination of Underground and Mama Tutorials and a little bit of Pride. And then on my lower lash line, I just used a little bit more of Amsterdam and Slasher. And then on my cheekbones, I actually went in with Roxy Catan. Aria says hi. Alright, day number 2 is going to be kind of quick because I only have like 15 minutes to do my makeup, but I'm using the Lime Crime Prelude. Alright, this is the final look. Alright, so I used the shade Nymph on my lid. Well, lid crease just kind of diffused. I used the shade Triumph in the inner part, in the inner half of my lid, and I used the shade Seafoam on my inner corner. Storybook. So day 3, I'm going to be using the Storybook's Cosmetics Jane Eyre palette. Again, this is going to be a relatively simple look because I have a lot of grading and reading and writing to do today. Quick, simple, and this is a kind of capsule palette, so this is lent to doing quick, easy. This is the final look. I look a little brighter than I thought I would because I just finished working out a bit ago, so this is the glisten of sweat, less than highlighter. Anyway, so I used all 3 shades plus the lip gloss. So I used this in my crease, this kind of blending between crease and the lid, this on the lid, and then I hopped into one of my single shadows. And I used this shade Solar Flare from Terra Moon because it has this gorgeous pink flip. Hold on. Can you see it? Hold on. Wait. Anyway, so that's on my inner corner. Good morning. It has already, well, I guess it's not morning anymore for me, but whatever. Anyway, it's been a bit of a stressful morning already for me, so dealing with financial aid is never fun. Anyway, so I have less time than I planned to get ready before class, so we're doing a quick look again today, but I'm just going to try and take this time to calm down, watch a YouTube video, do a little self-care, and get myself centered before class starts. So I am going to be using the Spanglish palette by Alamar Cosmetics. All right, this is my look. I just kind of threw it together, but not too bad. Feels nice to be slightly put together. Okay, I literally used every shade except for, hi Aria. I literally used every shade except for Muy Excited. I used Ha 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 in my crease slash transition. Ow! Give me a second and then I'll pay attention to you. I used IK Cutes and Ponce Hyper in my lid. Then I went like 1, 2, 3, 4 across my lid, and this one ended in my inner corner. First off, happy inauguration day, even though you guys are seeing this way later, but it's happy inauguration day for me, and we have a Madam Vice President, and it's a good day. I've already had my first class of the day. I did not have time to do this before, but whatever. My palette for today is the Magic Mini palette by Juvia's Place. Let's get going. Alright, this is the look with the Magic Mini palette. I used this shade just all over my lid, kind of roughly. I used this shade originally kind of to transition to this, which was in the crease, and then I kind of just expanded it and blew it out and was like, ah, this will be fun. Then I used this over the outer portion of my lid, used this over the inner portion of my lid, and I actually spread over a little bit of Ocean. I just realized I didn't tell you the different shade names, whatever. And then on my lower lid, I again used Zakia and Nubia in the center portion, and I popped a little bit of my Colourpop Horse and Carriage highlighter in my inner corner. Alright, today I'm using the Afrique palette by Juvia's Place. Let's go! Alright, this is the final look. So I did some graphic liner. Kind of matches my NASA sweater, so it's just feeling a little spacey and futuristic today. Alright, I used the shade Cote d'Ivoire, the actual name of the Ivory Coast. I used that in my corner, and then I blended from Bintu into Dakar towards my lid, and then I used the Midas Cosmetics graphic liner. Alright, hello. Don't mind Arya chewing her treat in the background, because that's the only way I can keep her placated long enough to do my makeup. Today's palette is What's the Tea by TheBalm Cosmetics, and this is the iced tea version. Right, this is the look. Right, it has been a long time since I used this palette, and I think it's near the end of its lifetime. It was extremely powdery and kind of hard to work with, but I managed. So I blew the shade Latest Scoop out all over like my outer lid, crease, upper area. Towards the crease, I also used the Rundown. Then I popped this shade, which is He Said, She Said. It has this pretty, it's not quite duochrome, but it's like, it's pretty. I used that over my lid, and then I popped this shade, Kiss and Tell, into the inner corner. And then I realized it just wasn't super cohesive, so I was trying to add cohesiveness by using Talk of the Town, and this was by far the worst fallout shade. You can see it also has like a little bit of hard pan here. Anyway, but I did that and was trying to clean it up with concealer and stuff, and so at the very end, I brought in one of my single shadows, because, you know, I had to do that. So I used this one, which is the Terra Moon's Euphoria. So I just used that on top of the lid to add some pretty shimmer and kind of tie everything together. So today I am using the Covergirl Overthrown palette. I am dealing with some acne, so I'm not going to be putting any foundation on. It's basically just going to be an eye look. Alright, this is the final look. Nothing too crazy, just kind of simple, and yeah. I used Fallen just all over the eye. Then I used Dethroned in my like outer V crease area. And then I did kind of a gradient from Loveless in the outer corner to Alter Ego in the center of the lid to Legacy in the inner corner. Now I will say these are very powdery and they look a lot nicer in the pan than they do on the eye. And it took a decent amount of building, but I mean, it's okay for a drugstore. Alright, today we are using the Warrior palette from Juvia's Place. Alright, this is the final look. Alright, I put a Hossie all over my lid. Hi. Don't lick it. Don't lick it. No licking. Don't do it. No lick. Don't do it. I used Hossie all over my lid, and then I used Dahomey in the outer portion of my lid, and then I blended that into Bakwa, and then I did Moremi in the inner corner, and then I used Benen on a wet brush and created the liner. Today's palette is the Douce by Juvia's Place. All right, this is the final look. Please enjoy Aria's cute face. Cute face. Okay, sorry. Anyway, I used berry mousse on the lid, and then I used a bit of crepes in the crease, and then I used Mont Blanc, which I think is going dry, unfortunately, on the outer part of my lid, and then I moved into puffs on the rest of my lid. I used Tarte and tapped it over everything because it has this pretty duochrome shift. And then on my lower lash line, I used a bit of crepes on the outer corner. I used puffs in the middle. And then in my inner corner, I used a bit of macarons. Good morning. Don't mind my dog chewing in the background. Today we're using the ABH Modern Renaissance. All right, this is the final look. Alright, so for this look, I used one fresco to kind of create the initial winged shape on my lid. And then I filled in my lid with Love Letter. I used Venetian Red on the kind of outer corner. Then I used Cypress Umber to sort of blend that outer wing and to tend to the two red shades. On my lower lash line, I used a mix of Warm Taupe and Buon Fresco on the inner portion of my lid, and then I blent Cypress Umber, of course, into the rest of the Cypress Umber on the outer V. And I tapped a little bit of Antique Bronze on like the inner portion of my lid, but it didn't really do a lot, but technically I did use it. Today's palette is the Warrior 3 by Juvia's Place. All right, this is the final look. Alright, so I put Candace on the outer part of my lid, and then I blended into Kahina, and then into Fonte in the inner portion of my lid, and I used Karama on my lower lash line, and then of course blended a little bit of Candace and Kahina to kind of pull everything together. Today's palette is the Butter London Teddy Boy palette. Alright, this is the final look. Okay, I used, so I started with Freddie in the crease, and I did Nigel on the brow bone. I did Simon to blend out onto my lid. I did Rupert on my lash line, and then I did Archie all over my lid, and then I wet the brush and did Archie again on my inner corner. I put a mix of Graham and Rupert on my lower lash line, and then I did Simon on my inner corner lash line. Oh, and then I did a little bit of Francis to blend the Archie into like the darker crease colors. All right, today's palette is the Scarlet Dusk by Ace Beaute. Beaute. All right, this is the final look. Alright, so I leaned pretty heavily on the pink side. I used Lotus all over the lid, and then I did Sangria on my outer V, and then I used Aurora on the lid, which this one gets decently bad hard pan, so it's kind of hard to apply now. I used Maui on the inner part of my lid, and then I used Nocturnal on my lower lash line, and I ended up doing it a lot in my crease because it was just starting to make me look sick, leaning so heavy into the pinks, so I had to deepen it up to make myself look not sick. Oh, I did also use a little bit of Pink Moon on the lid. And then I used
Lotus on my inner lower lash line.
Oh yes, it is the same day. Thanks for asking, but I didn't do anything yesterday and I had a little extra time today, so I am doing 2-in-1 today. Anyway, so today's palette is the Nomad by Juvia's Play. All right, this is the final look. I feel like this unfortunately may be expiring because like the mattes were like not performing as well as I remember them performing. The shimmers are still really good though. Anyway, but I put, do these not have names? What? Okay. Anyway, I used this one all over the lid just to kind of set stuff. I used this one in my outer lid. I used this one to blend. I used this one like on my lash line, and then I put this one on my inner lid just to add a little bit of a pop. And then once I realized the mattes are not as pigmented as I quite wanted them to be, because I had considered doing an all matte look, I added this shimmer all over my lid, this one in my crease, and then I just did a little bit of this one on my lower lash line. Today's palette is the ABH Soft Glam. All right, this is the final look. Orange soda all over the lid, along with a little bit of tempera. I blend out Dusty Rose on the outer portion of my lid, along with a little bit of burnt orange to blend into the I can't say that word, oh my goodness, orange soda. And then I put rose pink from the inner to middle part of my lid and sultry on the outer part of my lid. And then I blent a little bit of Cypress Umber into the outer V, and I put Dusty Rose on my lower lash line. All right, today we're doing a speed round with the Storybook Cosmetics Fairy Tale Robin Hood palette. 15 minutes before class, so this is the final look. I used Nottingham all over my eye, I used Quiver on my lid, I used Forest in the crease, and then I put Maid Marian basically everywhere on my lid, and I put Merry Men on my lower lash line. Aria! Alright, today I'm actually putting effort into my appearance. I'm going to attempt to style my hair. That's fun. Haven't done that in like a month and a half. Today's palette is the Storybook Cosmetics Fairy Tale Little Red Riding Hood palette. This is the final look, and oh my goodness, my hair turned out so good. I'm so proud of myself. It's all wavy and nice. All right, so I used Woods just all over my lid. I used Journey on my outer lid. I used Bad Wolf on my inner lid, and then I wet my brush and used a combination of red and Peril to create that liner. And then on my lower lash line, I started with red outer lower lash and then blent in Woods and Bad Wolf in the inner. Today's palette is the Kathleen Lights and Colourpop Dream Street palette. Right, this is the final look. Alright, I kind of just did my normal. I did Magical, just kind of messily all over my crease. I did Shooting Star right over that. And then I put Elfish in my outer corner and a little bit of Moony on my lid. Today's palette is the Colourpop Honey palette. This is the final look. Be happy! Honestly, I used most of the shades in the palette. So I started with Oh Behave and Sweet Spot on the outer part of my eye. I put Stinger and Buzzkill kind of transitioning on the inner part of my eye. I put Queen Bee on the outer part of my eye, and I put Sunburst on the inner part of my eye. And then on my lower lash line, I put Oh Behave and blend it into Dandy. And then I put even more of Sunburst on my inner corner. Today's palette is the Kathleen Lights and Colourpop So Jaded palette. All right, this is the final look. All right, so what I did for this one is I put Crown Jewel messily all over my lid with a little bit of my Precious in the brow bone and in the inner corner. And then I tapped Moonstone all over my lid, Pearl on like my inner 2/3 basically. I tapped Diamond over literally everything, and I put Peridot in my inner corner, and then a little bit of Aquamarine to blend into the Pearl. That was it. Today's palette is the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice Palette. Extra spicy. Alright, this is the final look. What I did, started off with a little bit of vanilla wafers to set down the primer, and then I blend in extra spicy all on the outer side of my lid. I did the same thing with cinnamon, just kind of just kind of put them on top of each other, and then I blend out hot tamale onto the middle of my lid. Put cookie call in my crease. I kind of blend everything up using mostly cinnamon and extra spicy. Put spicy mommy with a wet brush on the outside of my lid, and then I blend in to cookie cutter on the inner portion of my lid. I put just a tiny bit of lick the spoon on my inner corner. Gosh, this is so much stuff. On my lower lash line, I used mostly cinnamon and soft and sweet. So it's been like a half hour. Totally forgot to do the wrap up part. It's a morning. Anyway. Some frosty winter vibes. Okay, so I started with Cub all over everything, Chili in the very outer corner, then blend Avalanche on my lid, Polar on like the inner third, and then I did that like graphic linery thing with a wet brush and Glacier. Although I did go over it with another glittery blue eyeliner, but I started with Glacier. And then I tapped just a bit of Arctic in my outer corner. Today's palette is the Kaleidos and Angelica Nyqvist Club Nebula. All right, this is the final look. You know, it's a very like soft, natural look for this specific palette. If you want to see a more dramatic, colorful look, you can check out my review video up here, because I just wanted to prove you could do something soft and simple, and I was just feeling that today. All right, so basically, I just stuck Naru all over my crease and took it into the center of my eye, and I put Rock Hopper on my outer crease, and then I put a mix of You're My Only Hope, Celestial, and Nova all over my lid. And Nova was specifically on the inner corner. Today's palette is literally just a collection of like a few random single eyeshadows that I don't even know where they came from, or they came from Ipsy, but either way, I think literally none of these have information on what brands they're from or anything like that, so I'm using it anyway. This is the finished look. Although I should note, I already looked my face, so my foundation's already mildly ruined, but that's okay. Don't you love that pretty much all I can say is this one, that one? Okay, so I started out by putting this on my lid, and then I put a combination of this one and this one in my crease. I put this color, which is a beautiful duochrome, all over my lid, and unfortunately, everything is kind of old in here, so especially the shimmers had to be sort of worked with in order to be effective, particularly this inner corner, which looks a lot better on the finger than it does on the eye right now, so I probably should have wet the brush, but I just didn't think about it, so ah well. But that's what I did, and then I put a little bit of this in the very outer V and down onto my lower lash line, and this one in the middle of my lower lash line. Oh, with a little bit of this one. And then I use this for highlighter because it's a highlighter. Oh, it doesn't say. Who knows what any of this is? Whatever. Today's palette is the Ace Beaute Nostalgia palette. All right, this is the final look. Not gonna lie, I barely remember what I used, but I know I started with Beach. I'm pretty sure then I put Raspberry in my Oh, I put Raspberry and Hiking in my crease. I put Popsicle on my lid, and then I started in with the shimmers. So I started with Stargazing all over my lid. I had to use a wet brush because like they're not the best shimmer formula, at least for me. And I put Heat on my outer corner, and then I kind of kept layering them with the wet brushes. I blent a little bit of Vacation and Popsicle. I had Raspberry and Carnival and Hiking on my outer corner. I was using a lot of colors. On my lower lash line, I used Raspberry and Fun, and then I put a little bit of Water Slide on my inner corner. Why is Water Slide a yellow shade? Is it because it's the color of the water slide? Because I wouldn't associate, whatever, never mind. That's what I did. All right, very quickly, because I am, as always, in a rush, I am using the Wet n Wild Color Icon Rebel Rose palette. All right, this is the final look. Alright, I used all 4 colors. I used the darkest one in my outer V. I used the bottom right in my crease. And then I used the 2 shimmers, the darker one on my lid and the lighter one kind of all over but concentrated in my inner corner. Today's look was the Hot Jalapeno little palette from e.l.f., which I used all the shades. Today's palette was the Mandalorian the Child palette from Colourpop. Alright, I used Float Your Crib on my crease. And then I blended into Little Frog, and then into Babyface on my inner corner. I tapped Sipping Soup all over the lid, and then a little bit of Right Hand Man and Precious Cargo in the inner quarter, and I blent Little Cargo under my eye. And I did a little bit of just like a Tatooine, like up above to blend out the top. Today's palette is the Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity palette. Alright, this is the final look. Alright, these do technically have shade names, but they're not like here, so whatever. Anyway, I put this one between like my crease and my brow bone. I blent this one in like my outer corner-ish. I put this and this all over my lid. And then I used this palette for my liner. Alright, today's palette is the Huda Beauty Ruby Obsessions palette. Also, I got my second COVID vaccine dose today. Yay! Alright, this is the final look. Alright, I stuck this shade all over my crease, put this shade all over my lid, and then I put this shade all over my lid, and then I put a blend of these two in my outer V. Oh, and I used that one to kind of be a line. Today's palette is the ABH Jackie Item palette. Alright, this is the final look. Alright, I used Big Wig in my crease and then blended into Pinker. I put Shookington all over my lid, Trust Issues in my inner corner, and then I tapped a little bit of Sponsored on the outer third of my lid, and then I put Sponsored on the outer lower lash line and Shookington on the inner, and then reapplied the Trust Issues. Alright, so today's palette was the Lime Crime Venus 3, and I used it in combination with some of my Clionadh Cosmetics single shadows. Alright, so I used Ecstasy in my outer V, and then I used Dreamy both on the lid and blending up towards my brow bone with a little bit of Bliss, and then I tapped Roseline all over, I believe it's Roseline, hold on. Yes, Roseline all over my lid, and it's this beautiful multi-chrome. And then I put a little bit of Beam on my inner corner, along with a little bit of, what's this one called? Hold on. I don't have my little spatula thingy. Hold on. Oh no! I got it all over my fingernail. Crap. It is a mystery shade that shall not be named because I can't get it out of the pan. Yeah. Today's palette is the Colourpop Baroque palette. Right, this is the final look. Alright, so I started with Lounge in my outer V and then put a little bit of Stunner in the very, very corner of my eye. I blent out a little bit of Bebe, Bebe, on like kind of either side, like sort of a diagonal on my lid. I put a little bit of Bougie up in towards my brow bone. I tapped Noble all over my lid and a little bit of Ritzy in my inner corner. And then I tapped the Skywalker highlighter from Kaleidos all over my lid. And I blent a little bit of Stunner down my lower lash line. Alright, so I decided to end the first part of the video there. I'm not filming the outro because it's currently almost 2 a.m. and I look a hot mess, and I want to get this video up tomorrow. So anyway, I am going to continue doing this until I get through all my palettes. Obviously, I didn't end up doing one every single day, but that was probably an unrealistic expectation of myself in the first place. But I do it, you know, multiple times a week, and I've been having fun exploring palettes that I haven't used in a while, exploring some new palettes. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if I know I used a couple different formats to show you guys the palettes throughout the video, so if you preferred one over the other or had strong feelings or anything like that, feel free to let me know. Anyway, I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Stay magic, keep reading. I love you all so much. Goodbye.